You have your blocks or books ready, and I just mentioned it to Deirdre, a blanket, sort of firmish one, so not too squishy, but firmish. Won't need that for now. Blocks or books are ready. Okay. Okay, so we first of all, for the recording. So, welcome. Thank you for coming to class this morning. We're going to start standing just to get our bearings. So see that the inside of the feet are parallel to one another. Knees are slightly bent. So the main focus point is, or the main center of gravity here is in your pelvis. So the pelvis is moving down. We could maybe even imagine that from the sacrum downwards, or from the fourth or fifth lumbar vertebra downwards, we have, as it were, our roots. So all that moves down with gravity, okay, drawing us to the heart of the world. And then from the sacrum upwards is our trunk, so we lift up through the crown of the head, and these directions are always there. And thinking about the inner and outer spiral, also about the energy which draws the muscles in to hug the midline and also to hug the bone. So your legs now, if you think of these spirals, your upper thighs are going to go in towards one another and more towards the back. Okay, the shins are in connection. That immediately charges up your legs, so your legs feel strong. And today we're going to look into another part of the alignment, which is loops. So we're going to focus especially on kidney loop. I'll just say the names: kidney loop, shoulder loop, and skull or head loop. So, and we're going to use our hands here maybe to help us. So bring your hands to the side waist, just above the ribs. Sorry, just below the ribs and just above the pelvis. So in that part that we can call waist, between ribs and pelvis, and just lengthen that so we have side body long. Remember that. And then bring both hands on the kidneys, so the backs of the hands on the kidneys, or the kidneys lower back, and then just fill the lower back. So imagine you're filling the lower back with your breath. And so this is actually a very subtle movement. If you bring your hands back to your waist, bring the hands forward as if you were rowing forward. Oh, no, sorry, the other way around. Bring your hands forward, yes, and then down, and then up, and then backwards, and around, forward, and then back. So actually it's the backward movement here. So fists to the side of your waist, and then as if you were moving backwards first with your hands, then down, and then up. So we're filling the back of the kidney. So there's a loop here. And this is going to protect the lower back in any position where we have the arms up and we're opening the heart. So we don't want to sort of sink into the back, but keep the kidneys full and alive. The next loop is shoulder blades. So it might be hard to reach, but you can imagine the shoulder blades, imagine them coming across the the upper level of the back. And the shoulder blades are going to scoop upwards, and the heart lies. So we're not going to reach our heart forward, sort of, tearing it away from its center, but we're going to lay it into the shoulder blades. When we do a back bend, you can bring your hands up shoulder height. Okay, palms facing forward, just to sort of imagine this movement. And then you scoop, so the bottom of the hands, bottom of the shoulder blades, and you scoop up when you go into a back bend and come back again. We'll just do this a couple of times. So you scoop up and come back. You scoop up and come back. Okay, so the shoulder blades are going to be the bed, as it were, for the heart to lie into when I go into a back bend. Okay, now you mightn't feel this initially, but after a while, when you get used to listening to the subtle body, you'll really notice a big difference when you go into back bend. And the last one is the head loop. Okay, so the shoulder loop, if we were to do the hands again, you bring your fists next to your chest, and then you roll. Wait, I have to I always get a little bit mixed up. Yeah, forward and back. So you're opening here. Down, forward, back. Okay, so this is the movement here. Okay, maybe it's not the best now with the hands here on video. Okay, but you scoop the shoulder blades. Okay, and then the head. So if we bring the head back, if you tilt your head back, you'll notice that your shoulders lift to protect the neck. So we're going to lengthen the neck back, but keep the chin slightly forward. So you can go into a back bend, you can really lengthen back, but you keep the chin slightly forward. So we're rolling the head forward as we reach back, and this is going to protect the neck, okay, and then avoid this sort of crunching up with the shoulders, which we often do. Okay, so that's a lot of theory at once, but let's get into movement, and then we can see how these loops apply in a movement class. So come to the front of your mat, have your blocks ready just in case. And we're going to start with the classical sun salutation, which always involves a slight back bend. So remember, feet and legs towards each other. And then when we come into the back bend, you imagine the shoulder blades are going to scoop up, and then the chin stays slightly forward. You can exaggerate the movement, and then after a while, it'll become more and more subtle. So both hands in front of the heart, and then ride the inhale bring the arms up with the inhale. You can keep your hands separate here if you want, or place both palms together as is easiest for you. And now scoop the shoulder blades. So the bottom of the shoulder blades lifts up, the heart lays down onto the shoulder blades, and the chin comes slightly forward, back of the neck reaches. Okay, so keep breathing here just until you feel this. Legs are together, moving in towards each other. That'll give you a strong roots here to open up. And then knees slightly bent on the next exhale. Arms come out towards the side, and we dive down into forward fold. Here you could have your blocks or books ready if you wish, just to place your hands on. And then we do the Ardha Uttanasana, so the half forward fold, reach through the crown of the head. You have the sensation that your upper body is parallel to the ground. And then on the next exhale, you bend down towards the legs. And you can use the Ujjayi breath, so the ocean breath, which makes a slight sound in the back of your throat. And we'll just do this movement several times. It warms up the body and it reminds us of the spanda, the pulsation between lengthening and returning to center. Next, turn the head is forward. Use the exhale to bring the right leg back and then your right knee to the ground. We're going to lift the arms up towards the sides. You can keep the palms apart. And now as we go into the back bend, we're going to move the hips slightly forward. So shoulder blades are tucked under, so they're going to scoop up and become the bed of the heart. You look up towards the sky and lengthen the back of the neck, i.e. the chin comes slightly towards the chest while reaching back at the same time. Okay, long arms, try and stretch the arms, stretch the elbows, yes. Okay, feel the fingertips active as if your arms were arrows reaching up. Super. And then on the next exhale, come down. You can use your blocks for your hands if you wish to come into plank. We just spoke about plank there briefly, so try and keep your heels just above the toes in plank. And the crown of the head forward. Your arms, all your joints in your arms are stacked, fingertips and hands are strong. Hug the midline to feel the center midline. So it's quite a demanding pose. Lift up through the belly button, so don't lose the center here. And then place the knees to the ground. Sit back onto your heels. You can keep your hands on the blocks if you wish. And just let your head dip down to the ground. Make sure that your armpits stay buoyant, so you're not sagging down into the shoulders, but there's an activation here. So in all these classes, we're going to keep as active as possible, so as aware as possible of each part of our body as we do so. On the next inhale, up onto all fours. On the next exhale, you can bring your blocks to the side. We're just going to simply lay the body down, vertebra by vertebra. The arms are going to reach back. You can interlace the fingers here. Reach back through the hands. So the hands can be moving along the buttocks if this is available to you for the shoulders. Okay, if not, keep your hands apart. So move the hands back, press the tops of the feet in the ground, so much so that your knees rise. And then on the next inhale, lift the front body up, heart forward, and then the shoulder blades are going to help by scooping the heart up and forward. And then next exhale, come down, hands underneath the shoulders, come up onto all fours, and from here we move back into downward facing dog. So here I invite you now to drop the belly down as far as you can, so you're creating a curve in the lower back, so release the belly completely. And then fill up the kidneys. So imagine the back body, the back lower body, kidney wings they sometimes say. So the lower back, imagine the lower back now filling up and observe what happens. So the belly button will naturally move in towards the spine and you feel safer and more aligned in this posture. And then look forward in between the hands. Left leg rises all the way. Come onto the tippy toes of your right foot. Knee into navel, left knee into navel. Left foot comes forward. Right foot follows. Bow down deeply. And then press into your feet as you come up Arms by your side. Press down through the feet to rise up. Scoop the shoulder blades under. Come into a back bend here. And then bring both hands together in front of your heart. Okay, so we remember scooping the shoulder blades, keeping the back of the neck long, and at the same time filling up the kidneys. Okay, so the lower back actually stays long and broad. So ready for the other side. So on the inhale, arms come up, the legs are strong, and then open back into a back bend, chin stays slightly forward. On the next exhale, knees are bent, come forward into Uttanasana, forward fold, hands on the blocks if you wish. And then pulse here between lengthening through the crown of the head and then lengthening down towards the earth. One last time. The next time the crown of the head is forward, left leg will move back, left knee to the ground. Okay, so we still hug the midline, so there's still this movement towards the center. Both arms come up, if you wish, by your sides. Your eyes move up. And now scoop the shoulder blades forward. Heart lies back onto the shoulder blades. Neck stays long. And if you wish, just bring your pelvis a little bit more forward. Okay, be careful with your knee. Knee should stay perpendicular to your ankle. And then on the next exhale, come back into plank. This time hands on the ground, keeping the toes above the heels, but still reaching back through the heels, reaching forward through the crown of your head. Hugging the midline, feeling the strength here in the whole body. Okay, but without losing the ease of your breath. And then knees to the earth. Sit back into child's pose. Super. Okay, all the way back, you can keep your toes up curled if you wish. And then from here onto all fours and then lay the whole body down. Tops of the feet are in the ground. Really pressing down. And now keep your hands underneath your shoulders and the hands will be dialing outwards. So the left hand will be dialing towards the left without moving. Right hand dialing towards the right. This will bring the elbows in. Shoulders move forward to the ears and then back down. Remember the shoulder blades. The shoulder blades are going to scoop the heart up as you come into cobra. Okay, so scoop the heart. You can take a little bit of time here just to bring the shoulders back and down and feel the heart being scooped forward. You can keep your chin to your chest. If you wish, you can move your eyes up towards the sky and come back down again. Excuse me. Try this one more time. So into cobra, you're dialing your hands out, left to the left, right to the right, shoulders in, elbows in, shoulders towards your ears, and then move them back. And then the bottom of the shoulder blades are going to scoop forward as the heart moves up. Your eyes can move up. Elbows stay in towards each other and stay bent. And then come back down, up onto all fours, and then into child's pose. Bring your elbows close to your knees. Open the palms of your hands upwards towards the sky, and then just let your head release down as you catch your breath and your body finds its equilibrium again. Breath is deep. Breath moves into the back body, maybe even down into the lower back. You're filling up the kidney wings, as it were. And then lift your head, place your hands. And remember, we had the placement of the hands. We'll just have a little repetition. So fingers first, fingers outstretched. There's a parallel line between index and middle finger and the edge of your mat. So fingers first, then the rest of the hand. Fingers first, then the rest of the hand, and either hands. You can dig the fingertips into the ground without lifting up the balls of the hands, the balls of the fingers. And then distribute your weight evenly, center of the palm reaches up. And then curl your toes, move back into downward facing dog. Keep your knees bent, lengthen the arms without moving them out of the shoulder joints. Lengthen the side body. And here you can bend the right knee and just lengthen the left leg and the left side body. And then bend the left leg and lengthen the right side and the right side body. Okay, and then on the inhale, we're going to swap. Right knee bends, left leg outstretched. On the exhale, inhale, transition, exhale, left knee bends, right heel reaches back towards the ground. And your head at this stage, your ears are basically parallel to your upper arms. So ears and upper arms in one line. And then look forward in between your hands. The right leg rises all the way up to the sky. So flex your toes. You can push through the ball of your foot. And then come up onto the tiptoes of the left foot. Bring your right knee into the navel. Right leg comes forward. Left leg follows. Bow down deeply. And then pushing down through the feet, come up into standing. Arms come up. Move back into a back bend. And then hands come forward and down in front of your heart. Next inhale, arms come up wide. Reach up towards the sky, scoop the shoulder blades open up to the sky. So your heart leans back onto the spine, onto the bed of the shoulder blades, and you open the whole chest. On the next exhale, dive forward all the way down, head to knee. Inhaling, crown of the head forward. Exhale, right leg moves back. Left leg moves back, so we're in plank. Try and keep your heels above the toes, perpendicular. And then bring your knees down. And we're going to move the hands back, so we'll be on our knees. You can always make a little fold in the yoga mat just to place your knees on. Sometimes that's easier. Okay, so here, if you wished, you could take a block or your book and place it in between your thighs, just to remind your legs to stay nice and strong. Okay, so we're on our knees and we're pushing the block in towards the center and towards the back. Okay, and we'll go through the back bend again. So kidneys stay wide. You can bring both hands to the back and just stroke the lower back and the beginning of the rib cage here, the lower end of the rib cage. Okay, just to remember that we keep this part of the body active. And then place your left hand on the sacrum. So fingers facing up if this is possible for you. Okay, if this is not possible, then just make a fist and the thumb comes up. And then the right arm moves up. And then open the chest. Let the shoulder blades lift you up. And just see how far back you can go here. Press into the block and then lengthen all the way back. You can bring the right hand now to the back of your neck. Hold the head. And then lengthen the neck, bring your chin slightly forward, head still goes back, but you have the sensation that it's with a long neck. Press the block and observe here. And then gently come back. Sit back onto your heels, leave the block or the book where it is, just for a moment. Okay, so something's shifted, right and left side. And then come back onto your knees. We'll do the same on the other side. So right hand, either fist with the thumb facing up. This is just to give the direction, or fingertips facing up on the sacrum. And then left arm comes up. Squeeze the block as you move here into a back bend, shoulder blades scoop, heart lays back. And then bring your top hand to the back of the neck and just lengthen there. So you can place the hand on the occipital ridge and just lengthen the neck. So you're holding your head here. And then come back and sit back and take a moment, palms facing up on your thighs. Just to feel. So these back bends often open a lot in the front body. So they're quite powerful energetically. Okay, and then we come back. You can keep the block where it is, in between the thighs. So really squeezing the block. We're going to bring the left hand, if possible, to the left heel. Okay, so it seems quite far away sometimes. And then push the hips forward, so squeeze the block, push the hips forward. Bring your right arm over your head, elbow is bent. And then push the hips forward. Shoulder blade on the right is now working and scooping the heart up. So this is like one-sided back bend. Okay, beautiful. Keep breathing here in your own breath rhythm. And then on the next exhale, come back, lower arm, lower your hips. Take a moment here to sense right and left side. And then we'll come back up and do the same on the other side. So squeezing in towards the midline, right hand onto the right heel. So you can allow your hips to go back here until you find the position, and then push the hips forward as if you're pushing them against an imaginary wall. Squeeze the block. Open the left arm up. Try and keep the right side long, even though it's in a different position. And then bring the left hand over the head, bending the elbow. And then see if you can push the hips forward just a little bit more. Keep your breath long. Listen to the breath. The breath will let you know if there's any constriction here, and you can use the breath to dissolve that. And then on the next exhale, sit your hips back, bring your arm down, and release. You can take the block out from between the thighs and just sit back onto your heels if this is comfortable for you. Take a moment to sense both sides. Okay, super. And the next posture is going to be the shoulder stand. So take your blanket and place it across the mat. Okay, so it's going to give you a little bit of extra height. That's the idea for having it. So you place it across the mat, and we're going to lie down so that the tops of the shoulders are in line with the top of the mat. So they're actually lifting our shoulder up and creating more space for the neck. So the head and the back of the head is going to be on the mat, and your shoulders here in line with the blanket. Okay, so see if you can find that position. Okay, so the shoulder stand is really good for, of course, for our whole hormonal system, and because we bring the legs up and the heart is beneath the legs, it also does an amazing job for our circulatory system. Okay, super. So bring the legs up towards the sky, palms facing down, and just reach through the toes. Reach through the toes and then reach through the heels, toes and heels. Okay, so you notice the back of your leg, and then the back of the head is pressing into the ground. Okay, and we still have, although we're flat now, we still have the loop. So the bottom of the shoulder blades are lifting up. Okay, the kidneys stay broad and wide. And then you can take a little bit of momentum here by bringing the legs slightly forward, and then come up into a shoulder stand. So the back of the head on the ground. Now head stays immobile now. Just trust my voice, although it might sound a bit different now because the microphone has moved. And then just stay here for a couple of moments. So pressing through the back of the head, and see if you can allow the weight to melt down into your shoulders. Your hands are supporting the lower back, elbows are together. And try and get a steady rhythm of your breath. We're not going to stay too long, but to see if you can get a steady rhythm into your breath. And then on the next exhale, bring the feet behind the head. They mightn't touch the ground, but see if you can touch the ground. And then place your hands at your hips and just gently roll just the upper body down. Bend your knees. Place the feet on the ground. Keep the feet in towards each other and let the knees fall out to the side, just as far as they go, as far as feels comfortable to you. Bring the arms up and behind you, behind the head. Elbows can be bent if this is easier for the shoulders. And then just gently move your head to the right, back to the center, and to the left. And then hands underneath the thighs, bring the knees in towards each other. Now, the ideal pose after shoulder stand is the fish pose, so we'll go into that together. You might just want to roll off the blanket. Okay, take the blanket away. palms of the hands are facing down, and place the palms of the hand underneath the buttocks. So the length of the arms, bring the hands underneath the buttocks where they fit. Okay, facing down and together. Elbows move in towards the body. Stretch your legs out. Legs are outstretched. And now, with the help of your elbows, pressing into the elbows, you'll be able to lift the upper body up. You can look towards your feet. And then using the shoulder loop, you lift the bottom of your shoulder blades up. The head moves back and the crown of the head touches the ground. So Matsyasana, the fish pose. Long, deep breaths here, Ujjayi Pranayam. So the breath which makes a slight sound, the ocean breath in the back of the throat. And then gently press through the elbows, lift up the head, look towards the feet, and then place the upper body down, arms out towards your side. Without touching the body, spread your legs out and just remain for a couple of moments here in Shavasana, or I like to call it the accomplished pose. So it's the most difficult of all poses, complete relaxation. So let your body release down completely. And all the information, all the messages that have passed through the body, just let them do what they need to do. And let yourself be drawn down into the earth. How surely gravity's law, strong as an ocean current, takes hold of even the smallest thing and pulls it toward the heart of the world. Each thing, each stone, blossom, child is held in place. Only we, in our arrogance, push out beyond what we belong to for some empty freedom. If we surrendered to Earth's intelligence, we could rise up rooted like trees. Instead, we entangle ourselves in knots of our own making and struggle, lonely and confused. So like children, we begin again to learn from the things, because they are in God's heart, they have never left Him. This is what the things teach us, to fall, patiently to trust our heaviness. Even a bird has to do that before it can fly. Let your whole body be pulled, drawn towards the heart of the world. tongue completely relaxed in its own bed at the bottom of the mouth. And your breath in its natural pulsation, connecting you to all things. Very gently allow your breath to deepen. Start moving your toes, dancing your fingers, coming back into the body lying on the mat. And then you can yawn and stretch out any way that you feel is good for you. Now, hands above your head. Big yawn. Big stretch. And then when you're ready, roll over one side to come into a seated position. Palms facing up on knees or thighs, whatever is more comfortable for you. Feeling this centeredness, the point of gravity in the hips, in the pelvis, in the center of the pelvis. Rooted down from the pelvis and lifting up towards the skies. Neck is long. Your heart is safely held, shoulder blades being its bed. The kidneys in the lower back are full of breath and broad. And at once you can draw into the center, draw into the midline. And from this centeredness you can reach out in all directions. So bring our hands together in front of our hearts. And bow your head to the wisdom of your own heart. Okay, may that remain the center of all our doing in the outside world. And you can bow your head down to the Mother Earth. So thank you for coming today.